Well back, Moisa. Well back, Moisa. We're welcome to our YouTube family out there. We are back. Another week of Wu-Sabat. We are here. We have a lot to cover, as usual. And we're here every Tuesday, 7 p.m. to 9. Join us. If you're listening to the recording, join us every Tuesday, 7 p.m. to 9 Eastern Standard Time here in the U.S. Be a part of the family, So let's get started. For those who do not know me, my name is Peti Sina Teptu Re'e, and I've been over 30 years student teacher of the profound doctrine of the master teacher, known to us as Pandabab Yananan, also known as Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, who has been teaching us our ancient culture we identify as Wu-Sabat, also known as Wu-Nawat, which stands for those who make decisions based on sound right reasoning, based on the principles of Ma'at, based on the wisdom of the Hutri. In essence, our culture is about being in harmony with natural nature. That's how we live. That's how our ancestors lived. And we argue we have been suffering for the last 6,000 years, especially the last 500 years under racism, white supremacy, is due to the fact that we've gotten away from our original culture, our original way of doing things that gave us our power, our strength, our spiritual science, Wu-Sabat, our spiritual science. We call it Noon. We say Nuwapu. This was the original culture of our ancestors, the Tahites, the little ones, that all woolly-haired people on the planet descended from. We came from them. We are their children. And that was our original culture. And we've gotten away from that. And because of that, we've accepted foreign cultures, and we have been suffering ever since. If a people want to rule themselves, if people want harmony among themselves, they must have their own spiritual science. Everyone else does. The Europeans have their spiritual science called Christianity. The Asians have their spiritual science in China called, they have, Taoism and Taoism. And the Hindus have their spiritual science, Hinduism, the Indians, the East Indians, you need a spiritual science to build your culture. And without that, you'll be under someone else's system. And when you're under someone else's system, then comes the suffering, because you'll be ruled by them. And this is why we argue our people are suffering, because we're being ruled by other people's, spiritual systems. And if we want to be a self-reliant people, if we want to be a great people, once again, we have to get back to our original spiritual science that works for us. And that's Wu-Sabat, or we say noon. And so I'm just one of many student teachers that have dedicated our lives to teaching, re-educating our people about this culture. This is the solution to the problem. And as a disclaimer, I like to let people know I'm not above making mistakes. So if I do not hesitate to correct me. I'll correct, when, I have no problem correcting myself. I know I do make mistakes when I listen to my own recordings. I see it. So, don't hesitate to let me know. We're all in this together. We're all in this together. I do my best, though. I do my best. With all that being said, let's see. We always get started with our prayer system. Our culture is about spiritual development, right? So we always do our prayers, our namaz, we call it. Our prayers is it's about spiritual development, making contact with your ancestors on the higher realms. And that's what our prayers are all about, communicating with them. So this is key. So we do this every week. So those who know, you follow us. We read it in our Lahaj language called Sabat, and you have the English translation there, so you can follow it, in English for those who do not know, right? So let's get started. Bade kala namasat wu fad ko amag kasamun shala pot. Pasawa wu patara. Panan safa kawun. Pasawa wu patara. Z kawuna nazula laha ankum. Manas sabat Wu-Sabat. Amah hadayan un shafayun. Manas salafu wunataru. Ajula ye nafasu kum. Afuk shane kawun kuma. Pasawa wu patara. This book is the truth and the way. It was sent down for you all from Sabat Wu-Sabat star constellation as a guidance and healing from your ancestors and overseers. Return to your own. Accept what is yours, the truth and the way. Anun tawa ankum laha panan shafayun wu alaj. Anun tawa ankum laha nasuinun. Anun tawa ankum laha ashuk. Ankum at the salafunun. Anun at the kharat ukum. Anun talub nasar kuma. Anun talub nasar kuma. And so nun sayim nataru. And so nun salafunun. Anun at the munwapu. We thank you all for this healing and cure. We thank you all for not forgetting us. We thank you all for Ashuk. You are our ancestors. We are your children. We seek your help. We seek your help. Help us, divine overseers. Help us, our ancestors. We are Musba'u. Anun. Atun. Atun. Amun. Gender 4. Okay. All right. Wawad. Dig kawuno. Wawad. That is good. All right. Now there's another prayer that I wanted to say and introduce you guys to. It's something the master teacher introduced us to a while back. It's from our book called The Holy Tabernacle Family Guide. It's a very powerful prayer. I highly recommend all of you guys to master, to memorize. If you guys, for those who remember we had the Family Guide, which is a very powerful book that talks about our cultural ways and principles that we live by. Very powerful. Maybe hopefully one day we can just kind of get into this book. It's outdated in the terminology and names, but You know, you can, for those who know the names, you can just update it with the correct current terminology. And I'm going to do that. So I'm going to say this particular prayer. It's like a prayer affirmation, you know, with the updated terminology. Because like we have here, O Elohim, that's O. It's Ya Nathar, Ya Nathar, Ya Nathar. Right? So I'll always say Ya Natharu. So we say Ya Natharu, sent forth by the Most High, Re'eh. Ya Natharu, spiritual gifts descend into and around me. Guide me in all I do. Help me that I may help all human beings. Let me speak from your heads and not my own. Let me care from your hearts and not my own. Let me see from your eyes and not my own. I am to serve, not rule. Let me say that again. I am to serve, not rule. One more time. I am to serve, not rule. Make me of the best of your servants. O head of all the Nathar, Re'eh, you are the light of lights, the truth of all truth, the creator of all creators. Okay, and this is acknowledging the Natharu. This is acknowledging Re'eh, that we are here to serve. All the Natharu serves. That's our position. This is what we're caretakers. That's what it means, of service. We're caretakers of the universe itself as Natharu. We're caretakers. This earth was given to us, the Nagaru people. And so we're supposed to be caretakers of the planet. We're supposed to be responsible for the planet. That's what we're here to serve. We can't serve the needs of the planet until we restore ourselves as rulers of the planet. And you can't restore yourself as a ruler of the planet until you restore your sound right reasoning, till you restore your supreme spiritual powers within. This is the journey of all students of Wu-Sabat. With that being said, we get into our principles, our core principles of Wu-Sabat that we go over every week. As you guys know, for those who know, our culture is based around our core principles, right? All of our discussions are based on our core principles. These core principles are supposed to be embedded into your actions and deeds. Everything you do, what you represent, in Wu-Sabat, you live out these principles, and this is why we do these discussions, right? And so we repeat it we go over every week as a reminder to all students. This is how we live. We live by these things. Okay, principle number 1 is Ashak, right? Our culture is based on Ashak, divine love. It means divine love. Ashak is about being in tune and in harmony with natural nature. That's when you're in the body of love. And once you're in tune with that, then your job is to serve others. Right? Your job is to serve others, to maintain ma'at, to maintain a balance of existence. That's what our role is as the rulers. When you're a ruler, your rulers are meant to serve. And we are the natural born rulers of the planet. And as rulers, we're meant to serve, not have people serve us. We're there to serve the needs of the people. That's true rulership, not the rulership we have on this planet today, where the rulership wants the people to serve them. It's backwards. Principle number 2 is resurrection. Our goal is to become goddesses and gods once again as our ancestors, right? Learn how to open your third eye once again. Learn how to make contact with the Natharu. Turn yourself inside out, family. Check out the lecture we did on that topic. Principle number 3 is the wisdom of the Hutri and Ma'at. The Hutri stands for our divine mind. Ma'at stands for order. Check out our lectures on that. Principle number 4 is relationship, as Sabian people, as a melanated people, African people, indigenous, American, Native American people. We all live of, for, and by each other as a tribe, as a community, as a family. Let's get back to that, y'all. Check out our discussion on that. Principle number 4. Principle number 5 is morphic resonance / matrix. Right? Morphic resonance stands for sounds, tones, colors, vibrations, frequencies. And matrix is the manifestations of those sounds, tones, color, vibrations, frequencies. Principle number 6 is Leviathan. This is what we've been at war with. Leviathan is the adverse forces. Stands for moon culture, aka religion, aka Western culture. Check out our discussion we did on that, the lecture on Leviathan. Principle number 7 is soul/spirit. Your soul is your emotional force, your spirit is your life force. Check out discussion on that. Principle number 8 is health. The first key to health is a positive mind, right? As melanated people, we need sunlight. The body is 70% water. You need water. Fasting, we recommend at least once or twice a week. Fasting, the herbal diet, as Dr. Sabi taught us about. Exercise, you got to exercise, guys, to keep the blood flowing. Rhythmic breathing, this is how you tap into your energy force, your life force, your spirit force through rhythmic breathing techniques. Meditation, concentration, prayer, and chanting. All keys to health. As we always say, health is not what you do physically, but it's also the things you must do spiritually if you want true health, right? True health. And principle number 9 is the acknowledgement of the creative force, Pa'ut, the creative force. We say Pa'ut, just means all, right? And the creation, existence is based on the SMAT, perpetual cycles of nature. And the creation energy itself, it's achach. We call it achach. It translates to ether. It's the creation energy itself. This is what we're obligated to learn to tap into 9 ether energies once again to dominate our way of doing things. It's how we restore our powers. All right, as Sabians, we have 3 primary goals of a Sabian. Goal number 1 is to raise the self. Goal number 2 is to fight Leviathan. And goal number 3 is to work to build Sabbatia. And goal number 1 in raising the self, you must become born again, as the Christians teach, by learning the culture Wu-Sabat and live it, right? Give up the old for the new. Give up the old for the new. Give up the old for the new. And in doing that, one of the first objectives in the culture is to correct your name, family. Choose a Sabian name. Make it known. Represent the culture. You must correct how you look and dress. Represent. You must learn to speak Sabaic. Represent. You must study our doctrine every day, which builds your sound right reasoning skills. This is how you're going to be learning how to make better decisions, by constantly studying this doctrine. This is what's going to correct your decision-making skills, and you're going to see the results in your life for the better. You must practice and master our daily rituals to turn yourself inside out, guys. This is what it's all about. Learning to open your third eye. Once again, learn to make contact with the Natharu. It's in your power to do. And you must always be positive. If you want to reach any effective goal, you must always be positive. Principle or goal number 2 is fight Leviathan. We're at war, right? We're at war with Leviathan. And in that war, this includes working to free Panabab Unanum. Those adverse forces have kidnapped him. We must get him free, family. And you must become a student teacher. That's important. Each one teach one. Let people know. Share the good news. This is our obligation. This is one of the ways we fight Leviathan, by getting rid of the falseness that people think they know with the facts, the truth of existence, right? And in fighting Leviathan, you have to overcome the 6 strongest weapons of Leviathan we're fighting, right? The ignorance of our people, the fear that immobilizes us, right? The ego, we live by our egos. The anger, we're so full of anger and frustration today. Our lusts and desires, we're slaves to it. And unfortunately, we're people that love to lie, and we're very deceptive today. These all comes from the spirit forces of the Leviathan. We must overcome these things. And our third goal is to work to build Sabbatia, right? We have to have our own community once again, so we can really live our culture. We must work to support each other in business. We must help each other reach positive goals. We must help to build our culture. We must set up a landing zone for Panatharu in Africa, which means we need land in Africa that would be supported by an African government, family. And Ashuk is the key to accomplish all our goals. Now, what does it mean to be a Sabian? A Sabian is someone who is thoughtful and cares, someone who is helpful and honest, someone who is responsible and hardworking, someone who demands justice and honorable, someone who is righteous and humble, someone who is excited and cheerful, someone who is loving and peaceful, someone who is kind and considerate, someone who is neat, clean, and orderly. Our purpose as Sabians is liberation from adverse forces, guys. This is what our purpose is each and every day, to liberate ourselves from adverse forces. Number one, you must take action each and every day to free yourself of 6 ether spirits inside and out, which includes Black people who are possessed by these spirit forces. 2, acknowledge and fight 6 ether from promoting capitalism, the gay agenda, miscegenation, the so-called equality of the races, and racism, white supremacy. 3, learn, live by, and promote the law/rules of natural nature, and each one teach one. Word of advice: do not judge this doctrine by watching the behavior of Panabab Yanana nor his students. Judge this doctrine by the effectiveness of the information, aka information, that you personally put to practical use. This doctrine is based on self-authentication, family. Know that we are not preachers, but teachers who are dedicated to answering questions until there is a meeting of the minds between the teacher and student, who then can work in unity, which is the only solution to our problems. If we're not working together, what's the point? If we're not going to work together, what's the point? How are we going to obtain any real goal? That's why we do these discussions. We're supposed to get to the point where we have a meeting of the minds. When we have a meeting of the minds where we agree on things, then we can start doing things together, family. Quote, what you do for yourself in kind depends on what you think of yourself in kind. What you think of yourself in kind depends on what you know of yourself in kind. And what you know of yourself in kind depends on what you was taught and by whom of yourself in kind. Quote, until a lion has their historians, the hunter will always be the hero. Last, the negative mind talks of what it can and will not do for self and kind, always complaining about who they don't like or trust, whereas the positive mind always maintain the peace by not complaining about that which they do not like, but focus on finding solutions to their problems, never allowing obstacles to get in the way of growth. Alrighty then, family. With all that being said, today's discussion is the positive mind versus the negative mind. The positive mind versus the negative mind. We have a lot on this topic. So let's get started. Question: what does it mean to be positive or negative? Answer: being positive or negative is about energy. We have 2 main creation energies or forces that govern existence, which are 9 ether energy, family, and there's 6 ether energy. Now, 9 ether is the creation force of origination. 9 ether is what grows the universe, right? 9 ether is based on order and balance, harmony, peace, divine love. Now there's 6 ether creation energy, family. Now 6 ether creation energy is the energy of lust and disorder, chaos, frustration, destruction, fear, deception, bloodshed. So when we say that someone is being positive, we are saying they represent the principles of 9 ether. They live by the principles of 9 ether. Their essence vibrates in harmony with the creation energy of 9 ether. This is someone that is easy to be around, for they have an aura that is inviting to those in their company. They give off an attraction energy that acts as a magnetic force that pulls people to them in a harmonious way. Being around them is like a motivating force that compels you to do good and be productive. Now, when someone is vibrating at 6 ether energy, you will notice bad addictions that they may have, as well as them influencing those around them to partake in things that could be also addicting. These types of people focus on things like competition, wanting to beat others. These types of people are prone to anger quickly, always ready to argue with anyone that they feel offended them. These types of people are lured to gossip and slander and will argue that they do what they do because they are right and protecting others. You know, they love to be, we're only doing this, I'm only doing this because it's the right thing to do, or I'm trying to protect others. While they're listening, you know, I gotta put this out because this is gonna help others while they're slandering. They justify it. That's the negative energy. That's 6 that work, family. Question. What are examples of someone who is positive? Positive people always want harmony, peace, and love around themselves. Positive people find it hard to be around people who are prone to anger quickly or are always ready to fight. Positive people are those who care about suffering of others and look for solutions to these problems. Positive people identify bad conditions and spend their life in service to others as a solution to these conditions. Positive people are those who are responsible, always ready to stand for justice so that all can live in a world of balance and order. Positive people are ready and willing to fight for that which is right and never back down to those who use fear and intimidation to rule unjustly. Positive people do not slander or gossip about others. They never look to create conditions that will spark anger in others or be the source of any kind of conflict whatsoever. Positive people know that ignorance is the source of all adverse behavior and that correct knowledge is always the solution. The key to being positive is all about how one maintains their energy vibration. For positive people realize that our strength comes from knowing how to harness 9 ether energy into our bodies that sustains our life force. When one is harnessing negative energy, this is a force that depletes the body of its life force energy. Question. What are examples of someone who is negative? Answer. Negative people are those among us who are easily prone to anger when they feel they are being attacked. Negative people love to spread or listen to slander and gossip, meaning they always have a so-called good reason to justify this adverse behavior. Negative people love talking about problems, but they don't ever seem to be the ones who solve them unless there is something in it for themselves. The negative mind is one that mainly focuses on themselves, not realizing the adverse effects that their behavior may have on others. Negative people always justify their actions, claiming that they do what they do to protect others when really they do what they do to garner attention and self-gain. The negative mind also deludes itself into thinking that they are the good guys and all others that disagree with them are the bad ones. We see this behavior play out just by watching today's media are full of these examples, whether you watch news shows or talk shows or the many TV programs that promote this behavior. The negative mind is mostly motivated by fear and ignorance. Anyone who studies European history and culture will see this adverse behavior play out in all their actions and deeds. This negative mind is the cause of why European economic culture is based on capitalism, which is a culture that promotes excessive greed, racism, corruption, and warfare. Capitalism is a culture that glorifies the negative mind, which is why so many people easily gravitate to it. Right? You know, that's the thing, guys. You know, with capitalism, because it garners competition. And in competition, you have winners and losers. Now, who feels good about losing? So capitalism literally is a culture that generates negative energy in the atmosphere because you have more losers than you have winners. And that's an energy force. All these people that are frustrated because they're losing. This is what capitalism does. One of the basic human needs is to be acknowledged. And capitalism rewards those who gain a lot of capital, regardless of how this capital is acquired, as we see in the European slave culture of exploitation. So capitalism is about gaining capital. And a lot of times it doesn't even matter how you gain it. Employers, unfortunately, take advantage of labor all the time. I repeat, employers take advantage of labor all the time. Why? Because they're trying to gain capital, maximize profit. They lay people off. They cut people's salary. They give you more workloads for the same pay. It's a slave culture. And so it's designed to create misery for the laborers. It's with negative energy. That's a culture that perpetuates negative energy in the atmosphere. The negative mind is one that feeds all of our addictions. In fact, if you exist on this third density, it is so because we are all slaves to this negative mind energy. That's what this third realm, the third density is all about. Being down here perpetuates the negative energy. It's a realm for negative energy. So it's impossible not to be negative in this realm, unfortunately. It's the lower realm. When you look at the smack circle, we're on the bottom of it, right down here in the third density. It's the most negative realm one can be in. It's pretty bad. Question. If all humans are negative on this third density, then what must we do to change? The first step to solving any problem is to first acknowledge that you have a problem. Sadly, most people, when asked, would argue that they are not negative and doing so because they really have no clue of what being negative really is, right? So, most people don't see themselves as negative, okay? They think that being negative, or they think that being angry or frustration or complaining or fighting or lying or cheating or stealing or slandering, all these things is what makes someone negative. But what they don't realize is that all these behaviors represent a certain vibration. Once you know that being negative is a vibration, then it is easy to analyze these vibrations of negativity and see that they have a scale or range, let's say from 1 to 9. So we're dealing with 1 ether energy to 9 ether energy, 1 being the most negative, 9 in the realm of positive. So the negative energies is 1 ether, 2 ether, 3 ether, 4 ether, 5 ether, 6 ether. You don't get positive until you go in the realm of 7 ether, and you see this in the smack circle. Everything 6 and below is the negative realm. These are the negative forces. So you have to learn how to harness 9 ether. So if you're in the third density, you got to pull in 9 ether energy to you. And that takes spiritual knowledge to understand how to do that, family. What people don't know is that the world we live on is ruled by negative forces, and all humans on this earth are influenced by the negative vibrations that are in our atmosphere. If you have any addictions whatsoever, that is bad for you, then that is you being negative when you engage in these behaviors. Now, who do we know don't have some kind of bad, bad behavior, meaning, that you do something that you know is not good for you, but you do it anyway. Well, that's the negative part of you. The reason why humans are prone to the negative mind is because we have lost our connection with natural nature. Natural nature are the forces of nine ether, and in order to be positive at all times, one must learn to be in harmony with natural nature. Africans are all children of nine ether, which means that we have a natural nature connection to the forces of nine ether. Nine ether is a vibration that we as African woolly-haired descendants forgot, this sacred vibration of nine ether. But we can relearn how to vibrate in harmony with our natural nature once again, family. The teachings of Wu-Sabat are based on us learning how to vibrate once again on the nine ether frequency. Once a large number of students of Wu-Sabat are vibrating on this frequency, then we would be able to influence this whole planet by changing the 6 ether negative vibration to a 9 ether positive vibration. This is in our power to do. But first, those who care must work hard to change their negative vibration to the positive by way of exorcism of the lower forces that possesses us, which are the source of our adverse behavior. Question: what do you mean we must perform exorcism? Answer: humans must come to the realization that they are incarnated spirit forces into human flesh bodies. Our bodies are made of the elements of the earth, but our spirit is the life force energy of our bodies. A human cannot live without a living spirit force inside of themselves. In fact, this ignorance of spirit forces is what makes humans mortal, because they lost knowledge of the spirits within themselves, guys. So once you come to a realization that you are an incarnated spirit, then you would realize the body is just your tool, like your car. You can go in your car, come out your car, go in your car, come out your car. We can't do that no more. We're literally trapped in these bodies because we're not in tune with our spiritual nature any longer. And that's what makes us immortal. I hope you get that. Once humans regain their knowledge that they are living spirits, then they would realize that as a spirit force, they could do many more things with their bodies. In fact, this knowledge would enable humans to have an extended lifespan because of this realization. Humans must realize that our personality is the nature of our spirit force that controls our body. So, if you have a positive or agreeable personality, then that means that you have a positive spirit force is what governs your body. But if you have a negative personality, obviously that would be a negative spirit force that governs your body. Now, we all know that people can be positive at one time and negative at another time. So what does that mean? Well, this means the time that you are positive, that was the positive spirit controlling your body. But when you do things that are negative, that would be the negative spirit controlling your body. So guys, right? So 1 minute, let's say you get a positive thought and you want to do something good, like, you want to eat something that's good. That's the positive spirit moving through your body, right? You want to do good things. But then you think about, you want to do things that is not good for you. Eating something is bad for you. See, that's the negative part of you. And we're constantly flip-flopping. So these spirits are moving constantly through us as you have all these conflicting or changing thoughts. This is called in today's society being bipolar, or having multiple personalities, in which we find in most all humans. Now, once you come to realize that you have multiple personalities that govern your body, you must then learn how to perform your own exorcism so that only the positive spirits rule within. The teachings of Wu-Sabat are the knowledge needed on how one can learn to rid themselves of the negative spirits that are plaguing your body. The first step is that one must want change for the better, right? If you don't want to change, then there's nothing you can do. You're just going to allow that spirit force to rule you, and you'll just be that negative person, And we have a lot of those, unfortunately. They don't want to change. And that's what we call black devils. They know what they are. They like being negative. They don't want to harness the positive non-ether energy. They don't want to do nothing positive because that negative force literally controls their body. And that's just who they're going to be. And guys, you must learn to identify those individuals around you. Now, the second step is to realize the positive spirits within from the negative ones, right? So step one is you first have to want to change, guys. If you want to perform your own exorcism, you first have to want to change. So that's step one. Step two, you have to now notice the part of your nature that prones you to make good decisions, positive decisions. That's the positive spirit force of you. And then you have to identify all your bad decisions, all your bad habits, all the things you do that is not good. That's that negative spirit in you. And so you have to identify the two in your personality. Okay, so that's the first step to creating performing your own exorcism. You have to identify the two different personalities moving through you. The third step is the willpower to overcome the negative by only doing the things that are positive. Know that negative spirits feed off of negative behavior, thoughts, and deeds. And once all your actions and deeds are positive, the negative spirits will leave because they can't use your body to feed off of any longer. Negative spirits need a host body to survive off of. They go where they are welcome. So if you stop doing negative things, even though you have negative thoughts, they will leave once they realize by putting bad thoughts in your mind will not influence you anymore to act out those thoughts any longer. So guys, keep that in mind. The way you get the negative spirits out, you still have those bad thoughts. You still have those bad thoughts, but you don't act. So you don't eat that bad food. You don't watch that thing you shouldn't watch. You don't do that harm to that person. Even though you get the thought, that spirit puts the thought in your mind, but you don't act on it. The more you use your willpower not to act on your bad thoughts, eventually those spirits will fade away. They realize they can't use you as a host, and the thoughts will fade. They will leave. Now, it may take 30 days of control. It may take you 60 days of control. It definitely will not take you more than 90 days. Those spirits will be out of you.
It's 7:45 p.m.
But this is how you perform your own exorcism. This is how you get those negative forces out of your mind, by identifying all of your negative thoughts, family, and stop succumbing to that behavior pattern. using your willpower not to succumb to that behavior pattern. Stop putting yourself in environments that influence you to behave like that. Or put your mind on things that keep your mind in a positive state. This is why we teach, always study the doctrine. Keep your mind studying the doctrine, doing the prayers, doing your rituals. This is what gives you the strength. So when you get the bad thought to cheat someone and you use your willpower not to act, that weakens the spirit that put that bad thought in your mind. When you get the thought to eat something that is bad for you and you use your willpower to say no, that spirit gets weaker every time you say no to that thought. Remember, you have the power within to overcome these bad thoughts. And as you keep doing this, those spirits that put those bad thoughts in your mind will realize they cannot use your body as a host any longer. So they leave to find a new host body, or they die off if they can't. These lower forces that are feeding off of us, family, they need a host. And if they can't have a host, they eventually dissipate within the universe. This is spiritual knowledge. This is spiritual knowledge and insight we used to know. Unfortunately, we forgot. And this is why Wu-Sabat is here, to re-educate us about this science. This is how we become better. Once your body is ruled by a positive spirit force, bad thoughts will fade forever from your mind and never to return, now that you have the right knowledge of the power and effect of those bad thoughts. Question: what about emotional energy and bad thoughts? Answer: bad thoughts, which are negative spirits working on your mind, feed off of your emotional energy. Africans, melanated people, are non-ether. We are melanated people, right? Which means we harness the most emotional energy of all humans on earth. That fact is why 6 ether forces plague us the most, because we are their biggest food supply or source of energy because of our melanin, family. Notice that all the advertisers know the best way to sell their product or service is to associate pleasure to that product or service, or a way that product or service can help you avoid pain. They know that the motivating factor for human behavior is humans' desire to either gain pleasure or avoid pain. They know that humans are ignorant to spirits within, will do anything to gain pleasure or avoid pain. Humans will lie, cheat, kill, steal, overeat, use drugs, alter their bodies, neglect family or friends, and I can go on, all for the next fix of pleasure or to avoid pains of all kinds, guys. So they understand this is a strong motivating factor within the human psyche, and they play off of that. Our desire to feel pleasure or our desire to avoid pain. The commercials are masters at that, guys. In fact, I pulled up some. Hopefully they'll let me play these commercials. Oh, not this, not that. Now this right here, the drug commercials. Now all you guys are familiar with the drug commercials. What are the drug commercials about? The drug commercials they're focusing on your desire to avoid pain. So take this drug so you won't be in pain. Take this drug so you won't be in pain. But what's the problem with the drug? The drug has all these side effects. So it's like, wait a minute, you healing me of one problem, but you give me another problem. So here's this drug here. This what's this Xanax? Now listen to the side effects of this drug.
Side thoughts or actions while taking or after stopping Xanax. If you notice notice agitation, hostility, depression, or changes in behavior, thinking, or mood that are not typical for you, or if you develop suicidal thoughts or actions, stop taking Chantix and call your doctor right away. Talk to your doctor about any history of depression or other mental health problems, which can get worse while taking Chantix. Some people can have allergic or serious skin reactions to Chantix, some of which can be life-threatening. If you notice swelling of face, mouth, throat, or a rash, stop taking Chantix and see your doctor right away. Tell your doctor which medicines you're taking, as they may work differently when you quit smoking. Chantix dosing may be different if you have kidney problems. The most common side effect is nausea. Patients also reported trouble sleeping and vivid, unusual, or strange dreams. Until you know how Chantix may affect you, use caution when driving or operating machinery. Chantix should not be taken with other quit smoking products.
Call your doctor if you have high fever, stiff muscles, and confusion to address a possible life-threatening condition, or if you have uncontrollable muscle movements, as these could become permanent. High blood sugar has been reported with Abilify and medicines like it. In some cases, extreme high blood sugar can lead to coma or death. Other risks include decreases in white blood cells, which can be serious, dizziness upon standing, seizures, trouble swallowing, and impaired judgment or motor skills.
Use of benzoyl peroxide with Axone gel may cause your skin to temporarily turn yellow or orange at the site of application. The most common side effects with Axone gel are dryness, redness, oiliness, and peeling of treated skin. Don't take.
Now, why do people take these drugs? Even though these drugs are telling you that they're going to cause all these problems, we take it. Why? Because we're trying to avoid pain. So your desire to avoid pain will cause you to make irrational decisions. Why else, that was the whole point of slavery. Why else would a slave stay being a slave? Because the fear of pain, the fear of being whipped, the fear of being castrated, the fear of being murdered even. Pain. Humans will do all kinds of things to avoid pain. They know that about us, and they use that against us. And those spirits, those lower forces, they feed off of your suffering. They feed off your suffering. This is why spiritual development becomes necessary. Once you realize you're not the body, that your body is a tool, and that you as a spirit force can come in and out. As long as we remain spiritually ignorant, we will be susceptible to these types of influences. We'll be susceptible to the whole desire, because commercials will use either that pain receptor to get you afraid, or they'll use pleasure. That's the other technique they use against us, right? Let's see if I can find. There was one on pleasure, these commercials. Now that's all about pain. Here, this is the one on pleasure. Now look at this. Nope. So you see, they get you to associate. First of all, commercials usually have nothing to do with the product. They make it out, these animals, like these animals are living or talk, whatever. They want these Cheetos or whatever, and it's to get you to associate because it's ridiculous, but it's a way of making you remember the product. It's a way to make you remember, man, Cheetos. I get some Cheetos. I remember those, and you associate funniness because you start laughing at the animals, and that creates an emotion. That laughter is an emotion, and you're associating that emotion with that product. That's how it works. These are mind games. These are psychological tricks they play on us. Look at the others.
Hi, can I get
Yeah, now get Hey, can I get
10-piece chicken McNuggets.
And what sauce would you like with that?
Playoff time, baby. Games, snacks, drinks. I mean, what else can you ask for, bro? Really?
Hey, pass me a Pepsi.
I mean, can you drink any louder?
That's how I drink.
Loud like
I
that?
drink loud. I like to enjoy it.
Toss me some ways.
Now, see, they associate pleasure with poison.
Normal to eat loud.
They're conditioning everyone to eat poison, and they're associating pleasure. They're associating fun. They're associating all kinds of, enjoyment things to poison. This food is poison. But this is how they work. This is so this is the system we live in. The only way to fight it is to acknowledge these are techniques they're using against us. Yeah, they're relentless. This is white magic at work, family. This is how they feed. This is how they get us to feed the forces. It's witchcraft. It's literally white magic. It is sorcery, and because we don't realize what they're doing to us psychologically, because again, they know the motivating factors of humans is one, your desire to gain pleasure, right, or your desire to avoid pain. And these are the techniques they're using against us. They're using these commercials. They're using all these famous people in these commercials. So now you associate that product with the famous person. It's advanced psychological programming to get you into a bad habit. That's the goal, to get you to do something bad, not good for you. And that's 6 ether. 6 ether is to get you to make bad decisions, things that cause you harm. If you keep eating that poison food, it's going to cause your body harm. You keep taking that poison drugs, it causes your body harm. It's to get you to make bad decisions. That's what 6 ether does. And when you make this decision, that's the negative force controlling you now. That's the negative spirit force controlling you to make that bad decision. This is a war. These behaviors are what generate emotional energy within that these adverse forces, adverse spirits feed off of. So when you feed your negative desires, you generate emotional energy that gives life to 6 ether forces that possessing you. If you really want to perform your own exorcism, then you must realize the negative spirits within will play off of your emotions to influence you into bad decisions. Remember, we are Sabians who live by the wisdom of the Hutwi and the principles of Ma'at. Ma'at teaches us that a life of harmony, peace, and love is achieved by having order. And you can't have order without balance. And you can't have balance without justice. And you can't have justice without righteousness. And you only learn how to be righteous by acquiring the wisdom of the Hutwi. Watch those lectures that I did on those topics, family, to understand how you apply these principles into your actions, into your life. The lecture we did on Ma'at and the lecture we did on wisdom of the Hutwi, family. Study them so you can, imply these techniques. These are techniques. Question: how do we create a world of justice from this world ruled by the unjust or the negative mind? Answer: Ma'at is our way. Ma'at is how we have our justice. Justice is about correct decision-making skills that we have sadly lost. Life is about making decisions each and every day. If you have what is called a good life, then that means you are making good decisions. But if you have a bad life, then that means you are making bad decisions. When we look at the life of most Black people around the world, we see a life ruled by foreigners, cultures. We see poverty. We see much violence against one another. We see a lot of lying and cheating each other. We see greed and selfishness of all kinds among us. All of these behaviors come from our decisions we make from day to day, and how we live are the results of those decisions. So when we say Ma'at is about justice, one can clearly see from looking at Black people, we have lost knowledge of Ma'at in which our ancestors lived by, because to live by Ma'at means that one is ruled by the positive mind. But as we see our conditions in places like Haiti or Brazil or Nigeria or South Africa or here in America, we don't see justice because we lost our right knowledge on how to make just decisions, which is what Ma'at is about, family, making just decisions. But how can you make just decisions unless you have right knowledge? How can you have right knowledge, or how can you be righteous? We say righteous without having the wisdom to be righteous. And where do we get our wisdom from? Dahutri. This is how we learn Dahutri. And who's the manifestation of Dahutri today? Panabab. He's the manifestation of the mind of Dahutri, the wisdom of existence itself, the mind of natural nature, who's feeding us this right knowledge. So once you embody this wisdom, you have, and now you're righteous, because now you can make the right decisions. And justice is judgment. Justice is judgment. Your judgment now becomes sound. That's what justice is, to judge. And once your judgment is sound, that creates balance. Balance is what creates the harmony, right? When you have balance, things are in order. And once things are in order, then you have the harmony, you have the peace, you have the tranquility. That's how it works, family. Question: is there any culture other than Wu-Sabat that can teach about the power of the positive mind? Wu-Sabat is the only culture that explains the difference between 9 ether spirit forces and 6 ether spirit forces. Only children of 9 ether can teach others about 9 ether, and knowing this actual fact excludes listening to any other race about how to solve problems that this world face. Guys, only us. We're the ones who are 9 ether. We're the children of 9 ether. The master is a manifestation of 9 ether in the flesh. We're the only ones that can explain really what's happening on the planet, because no one else, if you're not of 9 ether, you won't understand what's really going on. No other people will be able to explain why the negative mind ruled unless they understood the nature of nature and how the smack circle works, right? The smack circle we talk about, and how all of these different energies, spirit energies, are moved throughout the universe, throughout the galaxy, throughout our solar system, and throughout our planet, which influence all of the species on planets. These energies from 9 to 6 ether forces. You have to understand that. Only 9 ether beings know what 9 ether is. So we're the only ones that really can teach this information. No other people have that knowledge. No others have 9 ether knowledge. They don't understand what's really happening within the universe itself and why conditions are like they are. We the ones who have this right knowledge. This knowledge teaches us that nature is always changing in cycles, and with cycle changes, we also have a change in ruling spirit forces. We teach that we have sun cycles where 9 ether forces can rule, and we have moon cycles where 6 ether forces can rule. So the 9 mind is the positive, and sixth mind is the negative. Question. How much longer will it take for the 9 mind to overcome the 6? Answer. Dr. York has been teaching right knowledge since 1962 at the age of 17 years old until today, which is now 60 years, family. He's been teaching 60 years. Right knowledge is the only solution to a world ruled by the negative 6 ether mind. Dr. York has written hundreds of books teaching how to overcome the negative spirit forces that has been dominating the hearts and minds of Black people worldwide. The goal of Dr. York is to raise 144,000 souls who would be given the power and know-how to change the mental vibration of the minds of the people from 6 ether mind to 9 ether mind. But this will only happen once students of Wu-Sabat not just read the books, but also practice and master all of the things we are taught in the books to do. We can realistically achieve this goal within 6 years if we are able to free Dr. York within the next 12 months. In order to free Dr. York in this timeline, it would take at least one of his students resurrecting as Dr. York has taught us to do. Then this student would have the knowledge of what it would take to free Dr. York in this timeline. Keep that in mind, guys. It can be done if we understand what I'm saying here. Now I want to refer to this. This is, the master addresses this question, about these energies and these forces, right? In our culture, NoopooH. So it says here, NoopooH is the science of sound right reason, and its adherents are the sons and daughters of sound right reason. Belief is ignorance, and NoopooH is knowledge. If one has to believe, it means he or she does not know. And if one does not know, that is ignorance. Hence, belief is ignorance. The most deceptive word in religion is the word believe or belief, because a person can believe anything. And this means that a person can believe and be 100% wrong. But knowledge is knowing. Knowledge is correct information. To know gives one confidence, but belief infers doubt. Knowledge can be checked out by one or more of 3 tests: experience, evidence, or reason. Knowledge is always logical and it reasons out. NoopooH is right knowledge, which will pass any one of the 3 tests that is practical for the knowledge given. One cannot always use the experience test because the experience test is not practical for knowledge. The evidence and reason tests are those more often practical. Yet, NoopooH is the science of experience, evidence, and reason. Because 9 ether is the power of reason, family. 9 ether by nature is the male and female spirit forces of woolly-haired people. And the scientific name of 9 ether, well, it says it was discussed, it's called NoopooH. The scientific name of NoopooH, scientific name of 9 ether is NoopooH, family. Okay, so we know that. So let me move on. Now, Sabian forces, right? Sabian forces, 9 ether. First, visit the minds of their posterity. Okay, so our spirit forces, once you're connecting to this culture, this doctrine, they will connect with you mentally. This is one of the reasons why what gravitates somebody to right knowledge is because of you're inspired. Inspiration moves you to right knowledge. Those are your ancestors moving through you to bring you to this information. So they're communicating with you, and they want to communicate more as you develop yourself spiritually. So it says 9 ether first visit the minds of their posterity because they know that nothing can be done right unless the mind is right. And the mind cannot be right unless it has accepted right knowledge. 6 ether and ghosts causes Negroes to commit suicide because that is just what our people are doing when they run up against adverse forces with sticks and stones while the enemy has tanks and machine guns blazing. 6 ether and ghosts activate our people's minds foolishly to provoke Caucasians and their helpers to shoot them down. So 6 ether and ghosts will have innocent blood to subsist on. And so that those two spirit forces will get stronger in the atmosphere and maintain the Mukasu's economic strength and religion and prolong their domination over 9 ether people, guys. And this is how these spirit forces operate. That this is why they influence our people to make these bad decisions. This negative mind that's ruling us. We give it every time we how can I say, every time we give into our negative minds, we give in life to those spirit forces. And think about the millions, the billions of our people are doing this. This is what we're up against. The solution to the racial, economic, moral, spiritual, and social problems of woolly hair people is the elimination of Negro, negative, and slave mentality. And that elimination will lead to right thinking and right action for liberty and equality by the help of the forces of nature, guys. So when you get that negative mind out of you and you stop giving into those negative forces, this will then open the way for 9 ether forces to move through you, guys. Because all you'd be thinking about is the positive, the positive, the positive. There's nothing wrong with violence for our liberty and equality if we have a chance to win. But there is no chance without our own Sabian spirit forces to counteract the adverse forces and show us the way to liberty and equality. And we cannot see the way until the mind's eye is open, guys. Until you open your third eye, until you resurrect, then you can see the way towards how we can deal with these adverse forces. This is why we're stuck as Sabians. We haven't been able to reach our goals objective because we've yet to really resurrect and get these negative spirits out of us, right? Open our third eye. We can communicate with the Nathar on the higher abodes, and we can get direct communication on how to make better decisions and how to counteract these 6 ether forces. There is no solution to the problems and miserable conditions of woolly hair people anywhere unless we have a solution that is workable everywhere. Amanubi, the Ukpata, which is the master teacher, offer all woolly hair people a do-it-yourself solution until we are strong and united enough mentally to do what we must do together physically. All of us can work diligently and determinedly towards eliminating negative and slave mentality. Slave mentality, family, all our people know is working for the Mukasu, living their culture, doing things under their power and control. That's the slave mind. We've yet to realize we have to do for our own self. So I repeat, until we get strong and united enough mentally to do what we must do together physically, all of us can work diligently and determinedly toward eliminating negative and slave mentality. And we all can do this privately without committing suicide by provoking the visible adverse forces to brutalities and atrocities against us. Reading and studying the right knowledge, the actual facts, the Patadox family will go a long way towards eliminating negative forces and repelling adverse forces. And this process leads to liberty and success for for the whole Sabian race in general. If we Sabians have a free mind, we will do free things. If we have an equal mind to other races, we will do equal things, equal or greater than other races, because our mental capacity has, as the personification of the original creative forces, we are the 9 ether forces, guys, okay, are greater. Our forces are greater than that of others. Once our mind breaks the prison of this negative energy that's controlling us. Freedom requires a free mind and a responsibility of a free mind. Equality requires an equal mind and the responsibilities of an equal mind. Universal knowledge called Nawapal informs us Sabians that there were 3 creations. You have the primary, original or primary creation, which is 9 ether forces, did that. Then you have the evolutionary or secondary creation forces, and that's 6 ether. And then you have the ghostational or tertiary creation forces, and that's 3 ether, guys. And remember, we're in the 3 ether realm that gave birth to the ghost forces. That's where we are right now on the spot. We're in the 3 ether realm. So we're dealing with 6 ether forces, which represents lust, and we're dealing with the 3 ether forces, which represents death. This is why the Mukasu, who are 3 ether ghost forces, that's why they love killing so much, because that's how they get their power. So, primary creation was performed by 9 ether, whose science is Nawapal, or Wu-Sabat, or Noon. 9 ether is a combination of all existing gases of nature. Nothing anywhere can be as powerful as all existing gases. Therefore, 9 ether is the most potent power in the universes. Hence, 9 ether is the original creator who grew all the universes. In Nawapal, the word creation means growth into form or system or both. And the word destruction means change in form or composition or both. 9 ether is conscious and conscience gases. The Sabian race in person of the Tahites, guys, the little ones, right? The Tahites, the Sans tribe, came along with original creation. That is the same kind of ether forces that grew the universes also grew the Tahites, family. Therefore, the Tahites and their evolutionary descendants, which is us, are the personification of the original creative forces. To put it another way, the Tahites created the universes in their spirit form. Guys, we created the universe in our spirit form as 9 ether, then personified themselves as flesh and blood beings. There are 2 kinds of ether, 9 ether and 6 ether. 9 ether produces 6 ether, and 6 ether produces ghosts. 9 ether becomes 6 ether through time and age, and 6 ether becomes ghost through time and age. 6 ether is 9 ether in death, and ghost is the death of 6 ether. After the death of 6 ether, called the moon or ghost cycle, 9 ether rises again. And this is where we are now, the rising of 9 ether. So now the suns are beginning to emit the energies of 9 ether, charging our bodies. Guys, this is what makes this knowledge work. Without the energies of 9 ether hitting the atmosphere, it would be very difficult for someone like the master teacher to even do what he's done. So someone like him comes when the cycle is right. It's important for us to know this. Hence, 6 ether is adverse to 9 ether, just as death is adverse to life. 9 ether is ether in its youth, strength, and old age. And 6 ether is ether in death. Therefore, ghost is the death of death. Like everything else, when death gets old, it dies. And ether comes back to life in the person of 9 ether. Now, the Sabian forces of nature. Which are the Sabian forces of nature? Our sun and other true stars generate ether, but non-ether first generated the physical bodies of the suns. In other words, the suns, which are the true stars of the universes, are self-created, meaning self-grown, by the very power that they now reproduce. Our science, NoopooH, tells us just how and when, but it suffices to state that this time that evolution or secondary creation started 17,250,000 years ago, and it was performed by Six Ether, whose science is pantheism, and Six Ether is known today as Leviathan and all these other religious names of Six Ether. All right, so I'm going to stop there, but that was just to kind of, give more clarity on what we're dealing with. The non-ether forces represent the Six Ether forces. This is why I was saying we're the ones with this right knowledge. We're the ones who can explain and address really what's happening on this planet and how to really address it. It's that negative mind, those forces, those Six Ether forces, guys. And once you overcome that in your personality, those forces will fade. They will leave you. The key is using the willpower. The key is being around, other like minds. That's key. Okay, now I want to go to this Patadak that also is dealing with, this subject matter. Okay, this is a Patadak that the master teacher put out, Patadak number 46. And this is called the accusation. And this just goes into our behavior, how we should govern ourselves, how we're going to create a harmonious culture so we can get away from this unjust culture. So we have our way, the way we do things that will generate and perpetuate a positive atmosphere, positive energy once we learn how to properly deal with ourselves, because we still do a lot of negative things to ourselves and to each other. So the master teacher wrote this Patadak to address that. And it's very short, so let's go through it real quick. This is called the accused. It means pa tahama, right? In Sabat, pa tahama, which translates the accused. So Sabians or Nawapians, when it comes tahama, which is accusation, and accusations of pa taham, the accused. Be careful of each word. Be careful of who you listen to. In Wu-Sabat, both males and females are equal and can report what they saw with their own eyes. In Wu-Sabat, as Nawapians, hearing is believing and seeing is knowing. Before you accuse a person, male or female, of any evils or wrong actions, be sure it or they are facts. Remember, what is wrong to you may not be wrong to another. Know that if you accuse a person of a violation of Patadak, which is our way, guys, or any evil or wrong actions, you must have seen it, not heard it from another. It is not NoopooH to invoke others in what you saw. It is not NoopooH to invoke others in what you saw that is slander or gossip. You must bring your accusation or accusations before the 24 elders, males and females. Okay, so guys, we don't have the 24 elders set up, but just gives you a stage. We must set it up, and this is why we have to reset this up. The master, obviously, the master teacher is the one who set that up, and it has to be reinstituted by way of the master teacher. Let me just say that. So it says, not all 24 must hear your accusation, but more than one and both genders must be present when you make your accusation. A complaint is not an accusation. You can complain to the elder for the actions of the underage Sabaeans. For you may see a child do a thing you see as wrong and know their parents will not act on it because you attempted to inform them before and was rejected or abused or told, mind your own business. Now, if Sabaeans did that, then that's not our way if they behaving like that anyway. Now, all Sabaean children are all Sabaeans' children, guys, and that's really in our culture. It's not my children, your children. We were conditioned to think like that by these foreigners that put this kind of lifestyle, and it's been on the continent for 6,000 years. We got to get back to we're all, each other's, brothers and sisters and fathers and mothers or whatever. Brother Joseph Hodge, the like-minded part is hard. The Parah in Chicago is shut down. This doctrine makes one a loner in a good way. That happens, my brother, beloved, because of the fact people are struggling with those lower forces. And the lower forces is divide. And unfortunately, a lot of students of Wu-Sabat, they're having a hard time, identifying that negative mind. That's why we're talking about this. This is why you see what's going on in our organization, the chaos. It's that negative energy that's creating the adversity, family. And we got to come to grips with these adverse forces. Think about it. Why didn't we have 100 people listening to this discussion? Don't you realize millions of our people need to hear what I'm talking about, but they don't want to hear it? The negative mind will avoid these kind of conversations. Discussions like this don't get a lot of, play from us. Because that negative mind will block, those spirit forces will block them from listening to discussions like this. But it has to be done. It has to be done. And and you guys who are listening to this discussion, it's your obligation to spread it, to let people hear this. To let them hear. They have to deal with the adverse forces in them. We have the power to conquer it. If you can learn the difference between the negative mind of you within you and the positive in you, those are the different spirit forces. And then you can get rid of that negative adverse force in you. And once you do that, then our minds, we're going to link up as a people, guys. This is how we do it. So let's keep going. Now, all Sabaean children are all Sabaeans' children. Yet, you never touch or raise your voice to another's children, only your own flesh and blood relatives. Yet, if you witness your child striking another, you may prevent violence by first saying stop. Yet if you witness our child, someone else's child, striking another, you may prevent violence by first saying stop. If they ignore you, you may hold their hand to prevent them hurting another child. Sabaeans never beat children, not their own. Well, Sabaeans never beat children. Sabaeans never raised their voice to children, not their own. Guys, I had 3 children I raised. My children are grown. My oldest is 27, son. My second oldest son, he's 26. And my third oldest is my daughter. She's 24, or should be 24 actually next week. Okay, now, so they're grown. I can't say I never beat my children, but I never beat my children ever. Okay, so meaning I've hit them. I've hit my sons. I've hit them upside their head or whatever. I can count on one hand how many times I've hit them. Now, my daughter, I once gave her a little spanking on her butt one time when she was young. There's no real spanking. I did not really touch my children like that. Like I said, I didn't count maybe 4 times ever, of doing that. You don't have to do that to gain respect. My children to this day respect me. They're grown. They respect me to this day. It's how you govern your household. You do not, we learned that beating crap from the slave, slave master taught us that. That's why we, whipping, I'm going to whip you. We get that from who? The slave master. Abusing, one another. You don't have to do that to get respect. You don't have to do that to command respect from your children. It's how you train and teach them. I demanded respect in our household. And my guys know, they know to this day, they know the respect. Me and their mudatet, their mother. That's not tolerated. Yeah, Judge said my negative mind is working hard, like saying, turn this off and watch basketball. It's not working. I know that's how it works. That those are now the good news, Joseph, is you identify it. That's step one, man. It's step one to identify when we get those adverse thoughts that tell us to do something we know we shouldn't be doing. That's the first step. We have to identify those different thoughts. And slowly you work on correcting it. Slowly you work on fixing yourself. We have the power to do it. Eventually you'll gain the willpower. The basketball games ain't going nowhere. They got 82 games in a season. Not the I like basketball, but I sometimes I don't even have the patience to watch the whole game for 2-3 hours. I like the 9-minute games on YouTube. I watch them as 9 minutes, and it just shows how they scored, and I'm good with that. But I mean, to each his own. We're all good, but the key is to identify the bad habits we have, family. And once you can identify it, then you work on fixing that part of yourself. That's how you conquer the negative within. We all have the power to do it. So we go on and say Sabaeans never use vulgarity, guys. Sabaeans never use vulgarity. Vulgar speech is only used by vulgar persons. Never use vulgarity or teach children the same. If you are around non-Sabaeans who use vulgarity, it is your right to depart from the range of their voice. If their culture allows vulgarity, it's not your right to tell them what they should not say, for this can cause violence between you, right? Sabaeans do not accept the concept of turn the other cheek except for another Sabaean. Sabaeans do not forget or forgive the abuse against Sabaeans by non-Sabaeans. Sabaeans fear no human or devil, guys. That fear, that's how they control you. Those lower forces, they can rule us by our fears, guys. Remember that desire to avoid pain? We got to overcome that. You only do it by, raising yourself up spiritually. Sabaeans, we defend one another Sabaean against non-Sabaeans. Sabaeans will never ever strike another Sabaean or fight or kill another Sabaean. Sabaeans will protect and defend any and all Sabaeans. Sabaeans must will out fear of the system of laws made by the Mukasu or other races. We got to stop being afraid of their laws, guys. You respect their laws, you adhere to their laws, but don't be afraid of their laws, guys. Sabaeans know that many Nagaru or Negroids have sold their souls to the cursed seed of the Mukasu or other races and will betray you, turn on you, hurt you, or even kill you to prove they love other races over their own. Don't fear them. Don't trust them. Don't ever be the aggressor. Bottom line, don't be around those kind of, those are the black devils. Don't be around them. When individuals are like that, they'll turn you in. Aggression that leads to violence is an evil act. Never be the aggressive one. Sabaeans do not fight other Sabaeans. Sabaeans do not kill other Sabaeans. Sabaeans do not hurt other Sabaeans. Sabaeans do not abuse other Sabaeans. Sabaeans treat each other not as friends, but rather as family. We are not a nation. We are a tribe, a family, guys. We are one body. What hurts one of us hurts all of us. You must ask, what was the purpose of religious laws as found in their Bible and Quran? It was to be violated so as to accuse mortals. That's why they put all these laws. They in this country. There's a guy, what's it? Harvey Silverstein, I think his name, Jewish lawyer. He's a professor, and he wrote a book called 3 Felonies a Day. 3 Felonies a Day, talking about how it's impossible not to break the law in this country. It's impossible not to break the law in this country. They got everybody living in fear. That's why cops constantly shooting, killing black people, so that every time you're in your car and a cop pull up behind you, what happens? Fear pops in. You're like, oh my goodness, is he gonna stop me? What am I doing anything wrong or whatever? They do that on purpose to keep us in fear. And we feed their forces by doing that, guys. We have to overcome all of these things they do to us. And their Bible is their biggest tool. Their Quran is their biggest tool. Fear of hell. Okay? It only made people transgressors. Their laws were put into effect by evil beings to cause mortals to violate so that they can be judged, found guilty, and cooked in hell's fire. It's a deception in religion, guys. Those are tricks. That's why they set this religion up, to make you feel bad when you violate, when you commit a sin. It feeds their forces. This is another way they feed their forces. For who judges the judge, right? They're judging you. Who's going to judge them? Who accuses the accusers? It's always those who think themselves righteous who claim who is the unrighteous. All of you who live in right knowledge is living righteousness. So don't accuse others without facts. Look inside first, not for what you want known, but what you hide inside about your real self. Let your true self be your own first judge, or your own judge first. Don't lie to others to deceive yourself, because you can't lie to yourself about you. You are only in truth when you are alone. You only speak the truth in your thoughts. Sin is deception, guys. For what is sin? But what one thinks before they act, right? You think about sin, guys. They put that thought in your mind. You think about sin. So no action is sin, right? Thoughts are the sins before the action, or without the actual action, right? To think is a sin. When you're thinking of the bad things of violating their laws, their Bible laws, it got you committing a sin just by thinking about it. So you can't sin before you think sin. So the act of sin is deception. When another accuses you of sin, it is in fact after you have truly sinned in your mind's heart. So no one can prevent true sin in the heart until it is acted upon. Control your inner feelings, but know and accept them. So the whole world is a prisoner of the deception of sins, and all are deceived by the laws of religions created by the very devil or demons and his seed to deceive you. Sin is not what you do. Sin is not what you do. It is what you think to do. So be careful of what you accuse others of, when in fact you can't see inside them just yet, right? Because your third eye is not open, he says. You can't read their minds just yet. Again, your third eye, when your third eye is open, you can see people's auras. You can see their energy, their morphic resonance. You can see the forces that is influencing them. That's one of the reasons why you want to learn to open your third eye, family. You can read energies and vibrations. Know what you see, and know beneath what you see is the truth revealed in these actions. Sabians, remember, you all have 30 voices reaching up to you, trying to control your thoughts, which controls your actions. And remember, Sabians, you have mixed your DNA with others who each have their own 30 inner voices. Some even have mixed seeds from their mother's mother and their father's fathers, and all who they mix their DNA with. Even cursed seeds of demons, devils speak to your thoughts and result in your actions, guys. These are these thoughts. It's our ancestors that put these thoughts in our mind. And remember, a lot of us have Mukaso in our bloodline, so we have adverse forces in our bloodline. Not to mention, like the master says, who you engage with, sexually, you take in all of those energies, all of those spirits from all of those partners and whoever they have partners with. This is what opens us up to all of these conflicting thoughts that we're battling, guys. Whew. Okay, so many evil actions, weaknesses, addictions that you let control your actions. This is from these forces, guys. You have the power to overcome it. The strongest of all is pleasure, for sexual to lustful to perversions. Like a disease, they can overpower you. You have to control your inner voices by your own voice, finding your own tone, and become one being inside out, outside in, and take control, family. Before the truth of Wu-Sabat returned to you, you all were held prisoners by religious laws of Leviathan's rules and regulations as recorded in their Bibles and Quran. Not our laws, their laws of Leviathan. You were locked up by faith, belief, fear of hell's fire, an illusion created to make you obey their image of their God or gods or Lord or lords or Alihat or Allah. Yet now you have Wu-Nawat or Wu-Sabat return to you after 6,000 years of their lies of laws. Nothing they hate more is to hear you say, I don't accept anything you say, teach, preach, or do. I don't trust you at all, guys. And we got to say that to them. Stop believing in them. Stop voting for them. Stop doing things for them. This is why we have to work together. We have to find a way to work together. You got to conquer that self-hate. We got to conquer the negative mind that's stopping us. Those are the adverse forces that's stopping us. Say, I do not accept your religions or faith or beliefs. I don't accept your God, your Lord, your Christ, your Jesus, your Allah, your Mahdi, your Muhammad, your Buddha, nor am I an Indian or Aboriginal. I am Sabian. This is my race. I have no need of your religions, laws, or rules. I don't trust in the God you claim you trust in. You are a liar. You are a hater. You are a stealer. You are a killer and cannot be trusted in any way. This they hate to hear from you. Accept your own way of life, which is Wu-Sabat, family. I am your warner, incarnated to you, for you, of you, as Pa Munzul, Nathar, Amun, Nabab, Re'each, Pata, Dedi, or the Hutwi, right? The master is the Hutwi. He's the wisdom of the Hutwi in the flesh, guys. Remember that. This is how we get our right knowledge. This is where our righteousness come from. We know how to make the right decisions because of this wisdom. And when you make right decisions, right? Or excuse me, when you're righteous, you can make right decisions. Judgment, right? Your judgment is just. Then that's where justice comes from. And when you have justice, you have balance. And when you have balance, you have order. And once you have order, then comes the peace, the harmony, the tranquility, the bliss. That's the kind of society we need. What I say is as long as the ear is an incarnated one that makes me different than others. He's the ear. He's the one sent here by nature. You know, the heir to the throne, that's what it means. He's the one sent here by natural nature. Okay? It says, none is like me in this day and time. No one is like him that's teaching this actual facts, this right knowledge. Yet when my time is fully come, I must return to Sabat, Wu-Sabat, and into Ilion and on to Ris. I would have loved to have taken you with me. Yet I must prepare for those who will make it, few of the many. Many think they can have, many think they can or have deceived us. They have not. They will be left behind. Many say, I have no need to pray or chant, and they are right. They have no need because they are not needed to change the tones of those who link to Sabat. They are subject to evil voices, for their own guardians whom they don't know are the trustees of their souls until the time set by his own father, for his mother will reject him or her. I plead with you in this Patarat, the way, which is our way, guys, your own holy scripture. Become clean inside out, outside in. Stop mixing your DNA with others out of lust. You are doing wrong to your ancestors. They cry because you imprisoned them to evil specters of others' DNA because of your lust, your greed, yourself about you. They cry out, yet you don't listen, guys. As the master taught us, we're the savior to our own genes. We have ancestors out ours who are stuck on these lower realms, and it's our job as the beings to help free them. You know, and you don't want to cause more torment to them by adding more adverse forces for them to be around. Once you understand how these realms work, we got to free our family on the spirit realm, and we got to free our family here on the physical realm with us. Why we got to teach Wu-Sabat? That's why we got to spread it. Sabians, if a Sabian is seen that is caught in disagreeable actions by your own eyes, first warn them to restore them gently of the wrong actions you see. Yet watch yourself, or you also will be tempted. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill Wu-Sabat. Yet don't help hide what you saw now. Only one person, female or male, need to report what they saw with their own eyes, not what they heard from another. That is slander and or gossip. Y'all hear that, guys? Only one person, female or male, need to report what they saw with their own eyes, not what they heard from another. That is slander or gossip. Take in private before the elders who will speak to the person or persons of Patarat. Be careful of your accusations. That is what you actually see, not what you think you see. Be careful, guys. Each Sabian is to be trusted until proven untrustful. Y'all hear that? Each Sabian is to be trusted, guys. That's the one thing about the Caucasian system. At least they have due process. They don't really follow it, but due process. You don't just, they don't follow it, but the way it's supposed to work is somebody has an accusation. They go to the authorities. The authorities then do an investigation, right? And then they come to you, and then you due processes. You have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to meet your accused before it be. But they put it, they put it all on the media, so they don't follow their own system. Guys, none of the legal stuff's supposed to be public until it's confirmed that this is a, it's going to be a trial. Then it's public. But you first do an investigation. You don't spread that, because that could be all lies. You don't spread it to the public like they do on the news all the time. It's a private matter before you find out, okay, it needs to be done on a public level. You got to make sure whoever the accusing isn't lying. And then you got to talk to the person who is being accused. I mean, guys, this is a messed up system. So, none of this stuff is done right. And all. You just don't be accusing anyone. You have to have facts. And that person first have to be able to defend themselves before it gets to the public. Because their name gets tarnished now. How do you fix a tarnished name? What do they say? You only get one chance to make a first impression. It takes a lifetime to build a good reputation, and it takes a day to destroy it. Stuff like that. Yeah, keep that in mind. So if the accused claims this is not true, and that person is known for acting upon patadak, then they should be trusted on their word, guys. If someone says you did it and they say, I didn't do it. You did it and you say, I didn't do it. They say you did it and say, now it's 50-50. Remember, we're not religious. Don't just believe anybody. So if it's a 50-50, the person who said you did it, now that person is going to need some kind of evidence to make it go into 51% now in their favor, to show that what they're saying is facts. You don't just believe, people that, I believe they sound like they tell you. That's religion again, guys. We got to deal with facts. So what's the master say? Each Sabaean is to be trusted until proven untrustful. If the accused claims this is not true, and that person is known for acting upon patadak, then they should be trusted on their word. Remember, Sabaeans, your word is your bond, and your bond is your word. Don't let it fail you. Tell the truth, because Panatharu is listening. Guys, you're not going to get away with nothing anyway. No one does. This is why we say you got to learn to make contact with the masters, because they're watching all of this anyway. So don't think somebody's getting away with something. No one is. No one is. We have to stop behaving like the Mukaso. He has no higher forces, so that's why he acts like that. He thinks he's God and everything, the judge of over everyone or whatever, and that's why he have a corrupt, chaotic system. We don't have to set our systems up like that. Question: can you, what's that? Can you a brief summary on the Natufarians, the civilization before the Sumerians? I never heard of Natufarians. I never heard of that before. I've heard of the Turanians. You had the Turanians, which was before the Sumerians, but I never heard of the Tufarians. You have to give me more knowledge or data on that, because I'm not familiar with that. I'm almost done with this. Let me do this real quick. Guys, sometimes you guys ask questions, because last week I realized there were questions being asked, and I don't, sometimes my screen don't populate it. I don't see it. So if y'all don't see me answer a question, it's because it didn't populate. And if I don't ask it, try to type it again twice. I meant to tell you that, because it happens from time to time. Because I noticed that last week there were people asked questions. I didn't see it till after the fact. For whatever reason, they don't populate. Because I'll try to read out everybody's question. So if you don't see me reading out or whatever, say anything, address it. That's because more than likely I didn't see it. All right, so now it says, so remember, Sabaeans, your word is your bond, and your bond is your word, right? Tell the truth, because Panatharu is listening. The 24 elders are to look into each accusation and look at who is the accuser and who is being accused. They are to put how they may feel about each person aside. Yeah, they are to put how they may feel about each person aside as they think on these accusations, right? There is to be no favoritism in their mind or hearts. They must have facts. eyewitness to claims, not I heard or hearsay. And once they see how these accusations have hurt another Sabaean or abused any amount of Sabaeans or themselves, the 24 elders must come to reasonable action. One can be accused of hurting or abusing their own person by drinking, smoking, using use of drugs, or other things against their own person as a Sabaean. No child under physical adulthood, according to Patarat, can be judged by other than their own parents unless it involves the adults. Now, the 24 elders are not here to judge others, only to help keep the peace and justice among Sabaeans. Respect their decision over each case. You can always appeal your claims or what you have been accused of with facts. We don't live by others' laws or rules. We don't respect others' religions as our own. Sabaeans do not live by others' religions or national laws, right? We respect everyone's laws. Obviously, we have to obey, abide by, their laws because they got their guns, force us. This is why we got to get our own place, Sabbatia. We have to, for those who are true, and y'all really want to get away from being ruled by the unjust, then we have to create our own land of justice. That's why we got to work together. We live for, by, and of Sabaeans only, guys. We're part of the family. We got to support one another. Got to support one another. All right, that was a lot. As I always say, take your time, rewatch, study this information, apply it into your actions, into your life. You will see changes for the better. What's the point if you're not going to change for the better? What's the point if you're not changing for the better? Right? Remembering our principles, one of the goals is know that we are not preachers, but teachers who are dedicated to answering questions until there's a meeting of the minds between teacher and student who can then work in unity, which is the only solution to our problems, guys. The whole point of me doing these discussions, and I've been doing these things since 2016. We gotta get to a meeting of the minds. We have to start supporting. If we're not going to work together, how are we going to really accomplish anything? That's the challenge. How are we going to accomplish anything? So it's that time. We're at 9:00. We're going to do our 9:00 prayers, right? The 9:00 prayers. For those who do not know, we have, we do our rituals 3 times a day. Our rituals at 9 a.m., 3 p.m., and 9 p.m., right? We do our rituals 9 a.m., 3 p.m., and 9 p.m. All right, so let's get started. Bade Kalam Namasat Wufad Ko Ahmad Kasamun Shalal Port Pa Takyud. Anuki Jawef Pa Ashuk Impa Port Wu Kale Ashuk Kawun Jawef Nia. Anuki Kasamun Impa Port Wu Pa Port Kawun Kasamun Imnia. Anuki Wahu Ama Pa Port Wu Pa Port Kawun Wahu Ama Nia. Naku Kador Naju Ama Kasamun Impa Port Wu Khabu Ama Muskasun. Naku Kador Kawan Kale Pafaf Nakuk Daya Jawef Pa Port. Ama wase ama diyani kun lake bakui jaweb pa put anuki yabab bi nafasni pa put kun anuki pa put kador nakuk kador pa put amu nakuk amu lahahum manahnun Ahumata Karehum, Ahumata Karekum, Ahumata Karenun, Ahumata Joethnia, Ahumata Nia Wu Anuki Hum, Yaye Ashukre Asmua Jayenun, Yaye Nataro Afuknun, Anunata Mukra Ukum, Yaye Nataro Afuknun, Afuknun, Yaye Nataro Nun, Anun, Atun, Atun, Amun. Namazo Wahu, Yaye Mufaku, Yaye Yaye Nataru, Yaye Soye, Yaye Nataru, Yaye Hika, Yaye Nataru, Ankum Ata Pa Mufaku, Yaye Yaye Nataru, Ankum Ata Pa Mufaku, Wu Anu Ata Mukra Ukum, Wu Ankum Ata Musanun, Yaye Yaye Nataru, Aro Muklasnum Atum Re'e, Yaye Yaye Nataru, Namazo Atu Aron Hu. Yaye Mukdamu Afutnun, Ankum Mane Yakela Dudu Muslafunun, Wu Muisa'unun, Mane Yake Sawuda Paba, Mane Yake Kawuna Ka'u, Mane Yake Ata Akhach, Mane Yake Kawuna Bashar Wu Damam, Yaye Nataru Mukdamunun, Aro Muftadnun, Anhu Kawun Manza Mane Pa Nataru, Aro Anhu, Anhu Kawun Baba Yananun, Aro Anhu Kawun Atum Re'e, Haro Anhu Kawun Haro, Namazo Talu. Yaye Nataru Muslafunun, Afutnun Mene Pa Machwau, Afutnun Mene Gaha'an, Yaye Nataru Afutnun, Mene Saya Khayara, Afutnun Afutniya, Afutniya, Yaye Nataru Nun, Namazo Rabu Pa Tahmud. Nakuk Tahmud Bi Pa Nataru, Mene Pa La'en Lawi Tananu, Kaleh Ranum Atni Ata Lahe Pa Nataru, Wu Kaleh Namazo Atni Ata Lahe Kayat Yatin Laye Pa Nataru, Pa Sawa Wu Pa Turuk. Panem Masfa Kawun, Pa Sawa Wu Pa Turuk, Z Kawuna Nazula Lahe Ankum, Manem Masbat Wu Masa, Ameh Hadayan Wu Damal Manem Muslafukum, Wu Nataru, Aju Layena Fasukun, Afuk Shane Kawunkun, Pa Sawa Wu Pa Turuk, Pa Hadayan Wu Pa Damal, Nun Tawa Ankum, Lahe Panan Damal Wu Shafe, Nun Tawa Ankum, Lahe Tem Nasui Nun, Nun Tawa Ankum, Lahe Ashukuma, Ankum Ata Muslafunun, Anun Ata Mukra Ukum, Anun Talub Nasa Kuma, Anun Talub Nasa Kuma, and so nun kahen nun taru, and so nun muslafu nun, anun ata muspatu, anun, atun, amun. Yaye no taru nun, Yaye mufta'u, Yaye no taru, Yaye atumbre, Yaye no tar, Yaye nun, Yaye no tar, Yaye nun tat, Yaye no tar tat, Yaye ha, Yaye no tar, Yaye ha tat, Yaye no tar tat, Yaye kak, Yaye no tar, Yaye kak tat, Yaye no tar tat, Yaye amun, Yaye no tar, Yaye amun tat, Yaye natar tat, Yaye atun, Yaye natar, Yaye shishash, Yaye natar, Yaye tafaf natat, Yaye natar tat, Yaye sabab, Yaye natar, Yaye natat, Yaye natar tat, ya ye arastat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye asar, ya ye nathar, ya ye nabab tat hatat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye satach, ya ye nathar, ya ye hara, ya ye nathar, ya ye habtui, ya ye nathar, ya ye anaktat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye ahaharatui, ya ye nathar, ya ye nafartun, ya ye nathar, ya ye mantu, ya ye nathar, ya ye bapti, ya ye nathar, ya ye sachem tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye hata haratat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye baibis, ya ye nathar, ya ye patata, ya ye nathar, ya ye basastat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye imhatap, ya ye nathar, ya ye hu, ya ye nathar, ya ye matat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye mahat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye chafaf re'e, ya ye nathar, ya ye miskinat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye re'e tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye chentimen to you, ya ye nathar, ya ye hika, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye ma'at, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye renan tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye shai, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye sasyat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye mafdat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye sabak, ya ye nathar, ya ye anap, ya ye nathar, ya ye chanun, ya ye nathar, ya ye chanas, ya ye nathar, ya ye patata nun, ya ye nathar, ya ye soye, ya ye nathar, ya ye haktat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye amas, ya ye nathar, ya ye sadaptui, ya ye nathar, ya ye atun re'e, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye dehutui, ya ye nathar, ya ye patata warat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye sakartat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye ha, ya ye nathar, ya ye nehebka, ya ye nathar, ya ye sakar, ya ye nathar, ya ye ba'ah, ya ye nathar, ya ye akar, ya ye nathar, ya ye imharatat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye wapawatat, ya ye nathar, ya ye sachahatap tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye meritat sakartat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye sayetat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye garatat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye asatinu, ya ye nathar, ya ye bahatat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye chanem tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye manaktat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye chamem, ya ye nathar, ya ye mahatwi, ya ye nathar, ya ye kabesin and afaf, ya ye nathar, ya ye damata afaf, ya ye nathar, ya ye meritat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye nasat, ya ye nathar, ya ye imdadatat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye nachak batat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye sachatat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye anaktat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye dadad, ya ye nathar, ya ye tun, ya ye nathar, ya ye wahu, ya ye nathar, ya ye yisas, ya ye nathar, ya ye anach, ya ye nathar, ya ye afterwit, ya ye nathar, ya ye satat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye sachatwi, ya ye nathar, ya ye immaat, ya ye nathar, ya ye nanah, ya ye nathar, ya ye imnuit, ya ye nathar, ya ye imsatatwi, ya ye nathar, ya ye mutal tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye rahashafaf, ya ye nathar, ya ye maratwi, ya ye nathar, ya ye amun re'e, ya ye nathar, Yehu. And Ata Kaleh Jawaf Paut Ah Nun Re Ah Tun Re Ah Tun Re Ah Mun Re Yeah All right. Wawed Nathar Musar. Wawed Nathar Musar. Okay. That was, as you guys, for those who may or may not know, that's our prayer systems. It's about calibrating yourself. It's about learning to calibrate the body, communicating with the Nathar, your ancestors. At the end, we say that the prayers, that we go into the chant, as you just heard me do. We do the chants, and that's now the body. You're calibrating your body, the tone, the vibrations by doing those chants. And then after the chants, we're all supposed to go into a meditative state, right? You go into a meditative state. So once you do your prayers and you do your chants, and then you go into a meditative state, so you can, because now you're talking to the Nathar. Now it's to listen to their response. Because once you start getting into this and doing these things, you're literally it's like they are listening. They are listening. Every time we do these things, they're listening. So that's why it's important to go into that meditative state after you do these particular rituals, so that you can, through conditioning, day in, day out conditioning, eventually you'll be able to actually communicate with them. You'll start getting downloads. They'll put information in your mind, and you'll start being able to really communicate. You have this ability. Use it. You have this ability. Use it. But until then, family, we will see you next week. And guys, if you're on Clubhouse, we're going to be doing a discussion on Clubhouse tomorrow. We have a talk on Clubhouse tomorrow from 7 p.m. also to 9. So we're busy. We're going to be working. Join us. Support us. Be a part of the solution, right? Never the problem. Be the solution, never the problem. That's how you overcome the negative from the positive, family. Why do?
Really very embarrassed.